Hello, I'm James Helder and welcome to another episode of Not For The News. This week is the Premier League weekly roundup. I'm joined by my guests, colleagues from the esteemed world of football, none other than Liam Knight and Curtis Woodshack, the War Dog, BEM. What's happening, fellas? You all good?
All good, mate.
All good, mate.
Love that. Where do we start? It's been an epic weekend of football. We saw Manchester United pick up their first win against Liverpool last night as well. I think it's right initially to start on that. We've been pretty hard on Man United so far over the first two games. So let's see how we can dissect last night's win over Liverpool. Woodshak, what are you thinking?
Yeah, they did well, to be fair. You know what? They just basically did a few basic things where they ran around. You know, you can dissect it tactically, say this, and this, but the bottom line is they just ran around. They played with a bit of desire, played with a bit of fire in their belly, which is even a bigger, damning indict on them before, because it just shows that they weren't doing it. They basically were refusing to run around. And last night they ran around and they looked a completely different team.
Rashford, one player that we've been highly critical of, you boys in particular, seemed to have an absolute stormer last night. Is it just me, or do you think Rashford in particular has turned a corner? We can now see some consistency from that young man.
I was happy for him last night, to be fair, because he has had a lot of stick, not just off us, but off everyone. And he played well last night. He looked constant threat. Again, he ran around, didn't he? He ran in behind. He did what centre forwards need to do, pressed it well, got hold of it, scored himself a goal. I was happy for him. But he needs to do it week in, week out. And to be fair, Ten Hag came out and said that after. There's no point getting to them levels for Liverpool. And then next week, whoever they're playing, drop dramatically, because that's what they've been doing on a regular. So happy for Rashford, but he's got to go and back it up now.
Knighty, just like to bring you in. One person that had a really good game yesterday was Sancho. Headlines that he's brought South London cages to Manchester United. Getting a bit carried away after one game. Would you like to see more consistency from Sancho? What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a bit, football's all about consistency. Your ratings, so to speak, is about consistency, isn't it, really? You got to do it week in, week out. The best players in the world do it week in, week out. And, he's got one of the highest price tags out there right now. So you'd be expecting him to do it week in, week out. But, Rashford, Sancho, they all turned up last night, Northwest Derby. And it seemed like the manager just went in there, set a rocket off, told them about themselves a little bit, hyped them up, and they got out there. And like Curtis said, it's just basics, man. It's just like press. Anyone that's nearest to the ball, press. That's just it, really. Do you know what I mean? They're going to make mistakes. Liverpool are going to make mistakes. They ain't the best at the moment. They're going to make mistakes. They're coming in there. They ain't won a game all season. The manager would have been telling them all that. And, they're both on a level playing field, really. They both needed 3 points. They ain't won a game this season. And Man United are at home. Get the fans on your side. Run around. Get the fans on your side. And, when the chances come, take your chances.
Now, I know Liverpool fans would have been expecting a big win last night. Looking at coming into the game, you would expect Liverpool to really have dominated. How damaging is last night's loss to Manchester United for Liverpool in the title race for this season?
I think
there's a lot of games. Sorry, go on, Chris.
Sorry, I think in a title race, it's very early to kind of say anything like that. And I agree, Liverpool fans would have probably expected Liverpool to turn up and give Man United going over. But some of the team that's seen the team sheet, that's not the Liverpool team that we're thinking that we know. There's some big players missing in that team. And on paper, player for player, Liverpool were probably not better than Man United last night. So, that midfield for Liverpool's looks old. With Milner in there, Milner's been a brilliant player, but he can't play in them high-intensity games anymore. Henderson needs better players around him. And the young boy that I like, I've forgotten his name, but it's a big game to chuck him in at Old Trafford. Yeah, Gomez looked well short. That right-hand side of Liverpool's got absolutely mullered. But yeah, if you look at that Liverpool team, it wasn't a very good team. So although Man United are getting all gas today, they haven't beat anybody fantastic last night.
Simple question. With Sadio Mane, would Liverpool have grinded out a result? Would they have nicked that last night?
Listen. Obviously, the midfield was a bit short as well. They got a few injuries, Thiago and who else? Fabinho and all of them. They're all these, but I just find it like a bit mad that you let Sadio Mane go. Yeah, you keep Milner. Yeah, like he's been a great servant. Cool, no problem. I even think Henderson's finished. Do you know what I mean? I actually think he's like, do you know what I mean? It's getting a bit too much in there for him now. Like, great servant. He got dragged. What did he get dragged at half time?
You're going on like Naz. You're going to tell Henderson it's over. He needs to pack up.
No, but like, would you? Is that your captain?
I think Henderson needs players around him. He's one of those players, isn't he? He'll get it and he'll lend it to better players. When Henderson's kind of the main man in there, he's not good enough to be the main man. He needs to be the one that just knits it together, really. And I think he's the players around him.
Championship winning sides, they ain't got them kind of players. They got main men all over the pitch. And that's what Liverpool have had for the last few years, where they've been winning Champions League, getting into finals, winning the Premier League and stuff. They've had players all over the pitch that have been dominant. Do you know what I mean? And I think Henderson, how they ain't got somebody, got Milner out off the wage bill, sent that over to Sadio Mane, got someone in to flip and replace Milner. Mate, they're doing stuff off like, do you know what I mean? Merit and, servants who have been good to the club. Like, it's all right, I'm hearing Milner's being number one in the races in pre-season and all that stuff.
This was good. He's number one in the fitness charts. He's number one in literally all of the fitness tests. He's the fittest man of the season. He loves the club. He can play 6 positions. For me, he's not a player that you look to get rid of at this moment. If he had a efficiency, then I would say you've got to look at his spot, but he's justifying his wage.
So he's justifying his way, and he played in probably his most favourite position last night and got absolutely trampled.
He struggled, didn't he? There's no two ways about it. He really did struggle. Hey, I like the little guy that came on from Fulham. He came on, liked him. You know what? The Mane one. The Mane one is a massive, massive call from the manager. A massive call. And if you get that one wrong, they're the type of calls as a manager that cost you your job. You start getting things like that wrong and you get rid of he's a Liverpool legend. You get rid of someone like that. And I love Diaz, like what me and Knighty were talking about the other week. Diaz is class, but now all of a sudden Diaz has to be the main man on that left-hand side. Everyone's looking at him saying, come on, where are them goals? You make them calls with Mane, it's one of those where...
Curtis, you're bang on, Curtis, mate. Trust me. They think Salah's the main... They thought Salah was the main man. That's what they actually thought. Now, don't get me twisted. He was putting in more than a shift. At one point, he was actually the main man. But the main man, that kept all the joint together. I mean, they got Firmino up front. He looked 100 miles off it last night. It was shocking.
Lads, they've spent the money on Núñez. He looks like he's got the temperament of Suarez on a bad day, crossed between a little younger Knighty. He doesn't look like he's going to have to be able to handle the Premier League at this moment of stage in his career. Is it a worry? Is it a worry for Liverpool?
But you know what I would have done? Of course, it's a worry if you're striker, and it's no guarantee that he's going to get you flipping 27 goals like in the season. Do you know what I mean? As well as he's going to be picking up bookings throughout the season, maybe another red card here or there. Do you know what I mean? I would have just kept back on signing Núñez. How much did they pay for him? 50, 60, 70? How much did they pay for him?
I think it was around 45 million for Núñez.
Right.
We need to check.
I'd have just backed off of that. I would have got rid of Milner. Yeah. I would have made sure my front three kept together. I know Jota's injured, but Sadio Mane, Jota, Salah, you can keep that together. It's not an old forward line. That's a forward line been killing it for the last 5 years.
And Diaz, they already had Diaz in.
And Diaz on top of that.
The young kid from Fulham, did he come on a free? So yeah, did they need Nunez as he put it all out of pitch a little bit? I don't know. Like I said, they're big decisions, and if you get them wrong, it can be very, very costly. It can cost managers their job. I'm not saying he's under pressure at all, Jurgen Klopp, because he's not, but they're the big ones you got to get right.
Okay. I want to come away from this. I want to now look at Newcastle's draw with Manchester City. 3-3. Great game for the neutral viewers. I enjoyed watching it. I know you boys did. What was your take on that game? Let's break that game down a little bit. What are you thinking, Curtis?
I mean, it was a cracking game, wasn't it? I thought the first 15 minutes, I'm like, wow, Man City could blow these guys away. KDB was next level. His passing's ridiculous. But Newcastle just looked a real threat on the break, didn't they? With St. Maximin. I think they looked like a really good team. Newcastle are probably 2 or 3 top signings away from being right in the mix with your fringe teams like Tottenham and Arsenal. Well, everyone else apart from Liverpool and Man City, really. But I loved it. The fans were right behind it. It was a proper game of football, wasn't it? It was the best game of the season so far, in my opinion. I loved it. There's so much talent out on the pitch. There's no way that could ever be 0-0, could it? Especially when I seen John Stones was playing for Man City. I'm like, Man City definitely not keeping a clean sheet today. So yeah, loved it. Great game.
Now, one thing I took away from the game, you talk about managers getting things wrong. Now, the way Manchester City set up with the wing-backs introverting, they were coming into the middle to try and win possession, to overload that midfield. In turn, it left Kyle Walker so exposed from St. Maximin. One time for one of the goals, I was looking and I was thinking, where is Kyle Walker? Where has he gone? He's got probably the best recovery pace in the league and he's not catching him. I just thought that was a really weird thing to do, knowing the pace Newcastle got on the flanks. And I thought he got it horrendously wrong. When they were 3-1 down, I'm sitting there thinking, he's got this massively wrong. He's got this massively wrong. And if it wasn't for maybe the sort of the boisterousness and the of Haaland and the fluidity of KDB and unlocking the defence in them sort of passes, I don't think they would have rescued anything. So tactically, I don't think he got it right either. Do you know what I mean? I thought Newcastle played the game plan really well on the counter. It was like Howard looked at it and thought, I know what he's going to do with the introverts. We are going to hit them on the counter. So credit Newcastle, a lot of credit to the way they played.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And, I think it's the most uncomfortable I've seen Kyle Walker in a while, to be honest. But, when you've got players like City have got players and you pull it over and look at the Liverpool game, they can pluck you out of a flipping situation. And that's what they did. Newcastle was peppering them on the break. But, you've got good players. You bring in players, Haaland and stuff, and, they get you goals. And KDB, Silva, Gundogan, these players, do you know what I mean? It's not like you pull it over to Liverpool now. You can see Pep saying, we don't want to sell Silva. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? He's our player. He knows, maybe sometimes, not all the time the managers are going to get it right tactically. Do you know what I mean? But when you've got players, all you have to do is just shift it a little bit and then bam, it was 3-3 and they could have won it as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's down to the manager. I hear what you're saying, and tactically, I think he got it wrong and left Kyle Walker exposed. And I've never seen him so flipping disjointed. But you ain't going to be playing against Maximin every flipping week, are you? His pace and carrying the ball is unreal. So you've got to take that one on the head if you're Pep and your players dug you out of a little bit of a situation there, and you move on with a point. Not like Liverpool, they couldn't move on. They had Milner in there, they had Henderson in there. They're leaving Trent exposed, and he's just getting absolutely cooked on his side. Yeah, and you've got nobody in there to gather it up. They ain't got Thiago in there to gather it up, or they ain't got Sadio Mane in there to gather it up. So these are the things that, you know, throughout the season, you pick up a point here or there, or you don't pick up a point here or there.
I thought he was getting further from last night. Van Dijk. I watched him closely last night, and he had an absolute shocker. It was as if he wanted to take no responsibility whatsoever for anything. You know, he looked scared. He looked really timid to engage anybody. He went under a little bit last night. That's the first time I've ever seen him kind of thinking, oh, hold on, you don't really. Yeah.
No, Curtis.
I seen a side of him last night I've never seen before.
Curtis, you haven't been watching Liverpool for a little, mate. I'm telling you, he's been like that for the ending of last season, or from the middle of last season till now. He's been like that. He does this stupidness where he's got his hands behind his back because he don't want the ball to hit his hands or whatever. And Milner gave him a bollocking yesterday because he didn't engage. Like Milner, all right, Milner got sat down and chopped, no problem. But at least he was trying to, you know, block because he thought Sancho was gonna actually shoot, and he put his body on the line, and then he behind him, flipping Van Dijk's like this, and he's just standing there. And then even when he shoots, he just does that. Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, how is this? And I've been saying it for months and months, yeah? He is not the best defender in the Premier League. I don't care what anybody says. He, like you say, he don't want to engage me. He doesn't want to. He don't want to.
It was as if he wanted, when the goals were going in, he wanted it to say, well, not my fault. Instead of like taking responsibility. And the Sancho goal was unbelievable. I'm like, why are you not busting your neck and trying to block that? He was probably thinking, well, if I sell myself, he might chop me like he just chopped Milner or whatever. And he didn't want to kind of be that guy. But he seems to be playing very, very selfish at the minute. All about him not making mistakes. And he's not holding that back four together at all. And last night was the first time really I've seen him, you know, wave the white flag a little bit. And I wouldn't have ever thought of saying that about Van Dijk 6 months ago, but I've seen it. Hold on. What have I got? No. I've seen it.
Hey, Curtis, he did it against Fulham as well and gave away the pen. Just stupid. Like, you don't tackle like that. Do you know what I mean? He just twists his body and leaves his dangling foot out. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, you don't I'm no defender or whatever, but I know if I'm playing up against someone like that, then flipping hell, you can have a flipping field day.
How many times Liverpool lose last night, though? Remember one where Rashford went through 2 or 3 of them, and I think it was Gomez did like that silly, like little, what are you doing? Tackle. Liverpool lost every battle last night, all over the park.
Curtis, I saw some stats broken down. Now, I'm not really one for stats, but Van Dijk didn't make one challenge yesterday and won it.
Really?
Not one. It
just looks to me like he doesn't want to take part in any battles because then people can't say. It looks like he's playing for his stats rather than playing for his team.
Yeah, he just wants to sweep. He wants to sweep things up and look like and get the ball and spray it and look like that comfortable Ronald Koeman kind of like. Do you know what I mean? And he ain't that, mate. Do you know what I mean? He ain't that. He didn't win one challenge last night. I think these stats it was a decent account. So I think the stats was right, and I think he tried to make about 4 or 5 challenges, and he weren't successful in one.
Do you think they'll get someone else in while we're on the subject in the midfield for Liverpool? Do you think they need to bring someone in, especially with Thiago out?
But who though? Who? That's a problem.
Tillman's
got to be very, very good. When Liverpool are at full strength, the midfield's very good and very functional. To get someone in, you got to be spending 50, 60, 70 million. I just don't think Liverpool have got that money after signed Núñez.
Well, they want the what's his name? The English boy from Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, Bellingham.
Yeah, they want him, don't they? But Dortmund ain't really on, doing any business at the moment. But if I'm them, if I'm Liverpool, I'll find the money from somewhere and just force their hand, mate. because they need something. And he's perfect. He's young. He's English. He gets around. He puts in a tackle. He can score goals. He's basically got everything. Like, do you know what I mean? And then you can just get rid of the dead wood in there as well. Milner. I know you say Milner plays all these positions, but what position is he good in at this like right now? Do you know what I mean? He's gonna.
To have though, Knighty, man.
No, forget that. I'm not with all that. I'm not.
I'll keep it.
I'm not with that, to be honest. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not with that. You've got to have a position that you can lock down, and you know you're challenging the player who's in front of you. Like, do you know what I mean? You've got to like. It's not just if somebody's injured, then he can come in. Like Milner, like if. Push for flipping Henderson's position. Push for flipping Thiago. Right now, if they're all flipping fit, he's just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, Man City don't have any of them players, do they? Floaters.
Right, there you go.
Milner shouldn't really be playing in anything other than the Coca-Cola Cup or whatever it's called these days. And just maybe the last 5-10 minutes to shore it up or whatever. But he shouldn't be playing Man United away 3 games into the season. And to be fair to Milner, he probably accepts that role. He's been thrown into it a little bit because Liverpool have got so many injuries, but he's not stupid, Milner. He knows he's you know, I know he's topping the stats and all things like that, but running 1Ks and 5Ks in what it's about them, you know, fast twitch fibers in the middle of the park and just having that, you know, change of direction. I bet he's not topping them stats at Liverpool.
Nope.
You know, straight runs and the 400 meters, yeah, that's all great, but not a lot of that is match related to his positional play.
We are all Leeds, aren't we? Kind of for the purposes of this. Great result for Leeds yesterday, or the day before, rather. Fantastic performance. No one really gave them a chance of beating Chelsea. Let's be brutally honest.
I don't see why not.
Well, let's get onto this. We'll get onto the flaws of Chelsea and we'll get onto the flaws of Leeds. But looking at the team sheets, okay, and looking at the clubs and looking at forms of last season, you probably would have favoured Chelsea to get the job done. Regardless of not having a recognised number 9, got people like Sterling in the team, you would expect it the job done. Leeds have been quite playing some good football, quite entertaining. Rodrigo looks like he's going to be a real handful this year. So let's break down the game for me. How did you assess Leeds' win over Chelsea?
Why would you automatically think Chelsea are going to go to Leeds and get the points? Like, under seeing what so far this season? Even towards the ending of last season, what have you seen that they say they're going to go to Ellen Road, which is an absolute hostile place to go to? I've been there a few times. You go there, mate, and I'm telling you, you ain't won the game until that 90 minutes is up.
Yeah, well, didn't it? The other day, it was bouncing on it.
It looked hostile. It looked hostile.
Right? You do not go there and just think you're going to get it. That's it. You're getting 3 points, unless you're like, you know what I mean, City or somebody, and you're going there. But even yet, still, they're always gonna score goals. Leeds, for like, they just play that way. Do you know what I mean? They just play that way where, you know, it's a very fluent, like attacking kind of game. But on the flip side, they're always gonna concede as well. But you're saying they've got Sterling. Like, where's Sterling? The forefront, like to say, is so you're saying that Sterling is leading Chelsea to do things. It ain't gonna happen.
He should.
Well, when I spoke to you about Koulibaly, you told me he would hit the ground running. He's gonna have no problems handling the Premier League.
Who said that?
I'm going on what Woodhouse told me about Koulibaly as well. Oh. So I'm expecting Koulibaly to really much do what Rudiger done. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that job. He doesn't look like he's got the temperament. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to handle the intensity of the Premier League.
I think exit me from that there, because I didn't say anything about him. So
we're going to have to go back, because I know I didn't either. So what I actually said, I believe, is letting Rudiger go, somebody who's really comfortable on the left of that back three, the very few and far between. I think I remember saying it was a bit of a mistake, I thought. And then
you did. Koulibaly would handle it. You told me Koulibaly would handle it. he'd be comfortable.
Did I?
Yeah, but he hasn't been comfortable. He was far from comfortable at Elland Road when it was bouncing and it was hostile. So
I actually said that. Where did he come from? Italy.
He come from Napoli.
Right. I know now. I actually said, yeah, that league there. You're coming from that league there, and you're coming into this league. You ain't gonna be comfortable. Roll back the tape because I'm not having that on my head. I tell you that from now. No chance.
You know what? Fair play to the Leeds manager though. You know, because I kind of he got a really, really difficult job because they looked at one point that they're dead and buried. Last season, sure, and then he loses. You know, his two best players, Rafinha and Calvin Phillips in midfield. The fans they absolutely love Bielsa. It's a really, really difficult job for Jesse Marsch. If he don't hit the ground running, you know, I feel like they'd have been on his back. And 3 games in, they sat there with 7 points. I think it took them 9 games last season to get 7 points. And I love the way he's kind of embraced the challenge of it all, really. And the fans seem to now really be behind him. And that place is a hard place to go when Leeds is bouncing. There's not many harder places to go. And I'm happy for him. And I love the way they play. They're kind of like, they play little bit like Bielsa's high intensity football, but defensively, they're a hell of a lot more sound than what they were under Bielsa. So yeah, you know, and Leeds is a club that I've got a bit of a soft spot for. My dad was a Leeds United fan. He used to have a season ticket. And he used to go all the time. My dad actually took my mum on their first ever date to Elland Road. Have I told you this? So my dad took my mum to Elland Road on their first date, and about 10 minutes in, my mum's like in the crowd next to my dad, and my mum's like got up and said, "Oh, Bernard, I cannot listen. This is disgusting. I don't know how you sit here and listen to this week in, week out." You know, my mum was nearly in tears, and my dad was like, "What you on about?" He said, how can you listen to a crowd racially abusing you like this? It's disgusting. My dad was like, "They're not fucking talking to me. They're talking to the referee." They were singing like, "Who's the bastard in the black?" And my dad was like, "What are you on about?" that was their first ever date at Elland Road. So Leeds is a place I've got a real soft spot for. So I like seeing them do well.
You know what I liked? When the third goal went in, and Jesse Marsch, he was just on the touchline like this, just absolutely living in the moment. It was brilliant.
On American, didn't he?
Yeah, he went up in my estimations after that. He was absolutely loving it. So
and there's nothing like when you score and the crowd's jumping, the whole bench is jumping. Do you know what I mean? It brings it does something as well, like within the squad. It brings things closer together. It makes you want to work harder for each other. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. And I think he knows that as well, the gaffer at Leeds. So, you know, all fair play to them, mate. I tell anybody, you go Leeds, and if you turn them over at Leeds, you've done well, mate. Because that's not an easy place to go to, mate. It's not.
What about Tuchel? What he's come out and said after the game, like that he thought that they dominated or whatever, didn't he? Said they played better. We've just been dick 3-0.
Deluded Tuchel a little bit, I thought. Yeah. I don't know about you. I thought he was a little bit disrespectful as well to Leeds.
I think Jesse Marsch had a little bit of a pop before the game, didn't he? Saying like, "Why is he even in the dugout?" You know, he should be served. Tuchel, that cut him a little bit deep, I think. So he's had to have a little pop back, but sometimes you just got to take your medicine, haven't you? Leeds battered them on the day, to be fair.
Yeah,
they ran too hard. They were too determined. Like I said, once that crowd gets involved in the game, which they did, they're a very, very tough place to go is Elland Road.
And if Chelsea think just buying Sterling, they're going to, you know, propel and challenge for the title and, you know, do all of this, they've made a sad mistake. You know, Sterling has had good players around him his whole career. Yeah. So he's never been on his own to say he's the focal point of the actual team and, you know, carried the team to where they wanted to go. He's never done that. So now
I know he
now,
missed that early on in the game, but do you see him being able to play like with his back towards goal quite a lot, Knighty? Or is he a player that needs to run into?
He don't play that way. He don't play that way. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't play that. His way is he builds up high up. He builds up and he gets in the box and he uses his quick feet and his pace and stuff like that. He's trying to use him like a number 9 or a hold-up player or a player to start things off and all of that. Ain't gonna work. Like I said, he's been around elite players. When he was at where? When he was at Liverpool, who did he have around him? Gerrard. Suarez. He had all these dominant players around him. So you can fit in and do your thing. He went to City. He's got KDB, Gundogan, and Silva, Aguero. He's got all these men around him. So he can fit in and do his thing and, put his 2 pence in and help the squad and help the club. But Chelsea ain't got them players.
That Chelsea team's very, very disjointed, isn't it? It looks a little bit all over the place. I don't know. There's a lot of people that don't really fit into what he's trying to do. I mean, you got Loftus-Cheek out at right wing back. I'm like, just don't. It's not right, is it? They're missing the forward. They're in a bit of a mess, Chelsea. I think they could have a bit of, if they don't get a centre forward before the window's closed. I think that they could, be looking at 6th, 7th this year, maybe even lower.
And they're talking about bringing Morata back from flipping. Where is he now? Don't even know where he is. Where is he? Bloody hell. Do you know what I mean? And that's where they're at right now. Do you know what I mean? How can you be bringing him back? You might as well just tell Shevchenko to come back and try and put him in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know I don't know where with Chelsea. I don't know where whenever they play, I don't know how they're playing, like what formation and what they're trying to achieve or what way they're trying to go. I don't understand. Come on, they're good side and stuff, but I just, like when you see City play, you know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When you even see Liverpool play, you know what's going to go on. You see Arsenal play, you know what's going to go on. Now, when you see Chelsea, like you said, Kurt, it's a bit disjointed. Like, you don't know, the players there don't match the positions and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one, that one.
Even Conor Gallagher really struggled, playing in that kind of like that 2-man midfield. It's not really him. He needs a sitter so he can just run, get backwards. He's an old school number 8, isn't he? Box to box.
Yeah.
Struggled. His passing was poor. They were really poor, Chelsea. But again, I think you got to give Leeds credit because they were all over him. I like that little dude they've signed in midfield as well that replaced Calvin Phillips, a little American guy. I can't remember his name. Is he an American guy? Tyler something, is it? I thought he had a great game against them. I'd like to see his statistics for the game, how many times he won it back and he hardly gave it away, passed it forward all the time. Wasn't 60, 70-yard passes that Calvin Phillips plays, but it was them little 10, 15-yarders that are so important. I thought he had a great game.
Talking back, sorry. Who's the black guy for United last night they signed from final? He was everywhere.
Malaysia.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
Yeah. He looked like little Paul Parker.
Yeah. He was everywhere, mate. I'm telling you. And he set off the tone, mate. I'm telling you, mate. He was flying in all over the gaff. And, like we've been saying, yeah, about the game transforming again to wanting number 9s and stuff. And you're going to see now, as the league have said, you got to let a few tackles go here and there and whatever. You're going to see, mate, that the old number 9 and the old style of playing is going to come back. And you can see the top sides, even like for Man United, regardless of what, they're a top club, top side. They went old school last night. Yeah. City have gone kind of, obviously their build-up plays a lot more, but, they're even hitting the front man a bit more quicker and, getting bodies in and around them, off them, running them. Look at Jesus. Arsenal, they're popping it into the front man and getting Saka and Odegaard and Martinelli off of them and causing all sorts of havoc. I'm telling you, mate, it's going back that way. All that tippy-tappy stuff, yeah? Like, even yet still, Liverpool tried to play that tippy-tappy stuff last night and got rushed. They couldn't do it.
I liked it early on where Martinez came through the back of Salah. Salah got and he got up. I was like, oh, okay. Game.
Yeah. He looked like an old school. We gave him a bit of stick on it a couple of weeks ago, but I tell you what, mate, he was up for it last night, and he looks a nasty little shit as well. Like, he looks like he wants it.
Yeah.
He's the same height as Salah, though.
I thought he was
He's the same. It's going to be quite competitive. What's he going to be?
He's small as well. He's small as well, so you know he's just angry. You get me?
And the jury's out on him. Until I see him against the big number 9s, I'm a bit sceptical. What do you mean? See how he handles some of the big.
Mate, Ten Hag made some big calls last night, mate. Some big calls, and at big clubs, managers have got to make them big calls. He left out Ronaldo. He left out their captain Maguire. And he got the 3 points. So
where does that leave Ronaldo and Maguire? Where does that leave them? Because we've all been there. When you get left out, I don't care what anyone says, you're hoping the team struggles a little bit.
100%! 1,000,000%, bro. I'm on the bench. I remember one time, I swear down, right? No lie, Curtis, you made my body tingle, bruv. You made my body tingle because I remember one time we was playing Watford and I was on the bench and they tried to do this 2 big men up front stuff. And I'm on the bench and I'm thinking, come on, Watford, man. Do you get me? Fucking do something, bruv. Like, and then I think we drew the game. I was pissed off because one of the strikers scored and that, you know what I mean? But you're right, bruv. Anytime, regardless of what, yeah? Because it's you, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
You want to be playing. So if the team struggle, they're going to be looking at you now to bring you back in. Nah, man, you hit the nail on the head, bro. Down.
I think more so in our day, Knighty, because there was no such thing as squad rotation in our day.
Nope.
You weren't being rested. You were being dropped, you know. How, players may be a little bit different because it is more of a rotation thing. But yeah, in our day, if you were left out, you were left out. I never wanted the team to win when I wasn't playing. And that's just how it is. So Man United had their best game last night. I've seen them play for ages. So it puts Ronaldo and Maguire in a vulnerable position, really.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, if Ten Hag hasn't got the faith in Maguire, he's club captain. Like, should he be recognised as the club captain? If you're not going to... Probably the first name on the team sheet, Knighty, the captain, isn't he?
100%. And listen, it's in today's game, yeah, if you're not playing, you just get stripped. Like Curtis is saying back in our day, do you know what I mean? The captain was basically as hard as nails, yeah? He's probably a centre-back or a midfield player, yeah? And first on the team sheet every week. Do you know what I mean? That was back in the day, but nah, you know what I mean? You've got midfield players, like flair midfield players. Odegaard's our flipping captain. Do you know what I mean? You got flair players. It don't mean nothing right now. If he ain't in the side, strip him of his flipping captaincy. End of story.
Bruno was the captain last night, wasn't he?
Simple.
Yeah, best he's played in a while. Ran around and looked dangerous. I think Man United, I mean, listen, they're in a real period, but when I watch them, they look like Man United.
Yeah.
I rated his dive. I give his dive a 9.9 if it was a diving competition.
Who? Which one?
No, either for Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, for the penalty?
Yeah, he tried to.
Embarrassing.
I've been there, mate. You got to try. Do you know what I mean? You got to try.
Nah, of course, it's your job to try and get that penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, I tell my friend, you get touched in the box, go down.
100%. I don't care if, I've got half a yard of getting off a shot or whatever. If I get touched in the box, I'm going down. Simple. Yeah. I am going down and I'm staying down. Yeah?
I say it all the time. Make the referee make a decision.
Yeah.
9 times, especially at our level, they'll get it wrong.
100%. And if they don't give you the pen, you're at home or whatever, and they don't give you the pen, and the crowd think it's a pen and our players are going crazy, mate, you see, the next time you're in the box and you get touched, that pen's getting given 100,000,000%. Yeah, so you as a forward, you've got to run game mind games on referees sometimes, especially if you're at home as well. Do you know what I mean? Even yesterday, Fernandez, that died, his touch was a bit big. And then he tried to, do you know what I mean? He tried to get to it and touch it again. And the defender came across. That weren't really, you could see that weren't really anything. But, you know, like Curtis is saying, mate, touch in the box, go down, mate. Put your hands up.
You know, I think we've got to give a little nod to McTominay. Thought he had a good game last night. Thought it was this type of game, fast and furious and in. He did well last night. We've got to give him props.
I'd like to talk about the Kieran Trippier situation. VAR actually overturned a decision or got the referee to overturn a decision, which is quite rare, to be honest, especially with it being a red card, especially being at a crucial point in the game where it could have been game-changing had Newcastle suffered that red card.
Yeah,
what
but Curtis...
you make of the situation?
Curtis, you played in midfield your whole life. There's a tackle, that's a nasty tackle. And there's a tackle that you just want to break up play because they're on the break and do you know what I mean? They're in on scoring goals if they catch you on the break. So you're the best one to answer that, mate. I know what it was. It was great that VAR turned over the decision because it weren't a flipping nasty challenge. He just wanted to make sure they didn't break. That's about it.
He's got it spot on. I thought VAR got it absolutely bob on. You know, he went to break and Trippier tripped him up. And the difference between tripping someone up and scything them down and wanting to hurt them, that just wasn't the case. It was a little trip, wait there. Probably went a little bit higher than what he wanted, but try and hurt De Bruyne. He just tried to stop the play. So I thought VAR on this occasion was absolutely spot on. There's no malice in what he was trying to do. He was just trying to stop the counter attack. It was a professional foul, not a dangerous foul.
While we're on the subject of Kieran Trippier, I know his goal was fantastic, but I just wanted to point it out how good he actually looked. He looked super fit. I mean, Eddie Howe's got him so focused. He looks to me like he could be pushing for the England #1 right-back spot. That's how good he looked. You know, when you look at a player and you can tell that they're in phenomenal shape. They've got that little bounce and them little curves in the right place, and his acceleration is right, and his fibres are twitching. He just looks in a brilliant place at the moment. Thoughts on Trippier? Can he push? Can he push Walker, Reece James, and that alike for the #1 spot for England if his form continues?
I think Southgate likes him anyway, doesn't he? He's taken him to the last 2 or 3 major tournaments, and he's never let England down. Really, he's always played well, hasn't he? But I like Trippier. Yeah, I don't. If I'm playing that wing back, he wouldn't play for me. I'd probably have Reece James out there ahead of him. But yeah, I mean, he can play left wing back as well. I've never been an Eddie Howe fan, but I must admit I'm really liking what he's done with Newcastle. I like his signings as well. They've all been. It seems like Newcastle are quite progressive. Looks like they've got level 1, level 2, level 3, and they're going to kind of go through the levels. Without going sign Robinho and all the big dogs to start off with. They've put some good building blocks in place. And yeah, Eddie Howe's, I think he's done a great job. And I like Trippier. His goal was ridiculous, and he looks like he's a top player, isn't he? But he's playing for me. If I'm picking my England team, I don't even think I'd have him on the plane. But I like.
Right. This is what I was about to say. I'll have if you've got what. How many can you pick from the right side, right back? You got Trent. We take 3.
Yeah.
Is that what we do? We take 3, yeah?
3. We've traditionally took 3 for a long time now.
Okay, so I take Walker, Trent, and James. So Carl, I mean, unless you're taking him on the left-hand side, because he can play there. But who you got on the left-hand side? You got Luke Shaw, who? Chilwell.
Chelsea.
And who else?
Just trying to think. Who else is in contention?
Play there. That's why I wouldn't take Trippier. I'd take the same 3 you said, Knighty on the right, Walker, Reece James and Trent. On the left, I'd take Chilwell and Shaw. And then if we were desperate, we needed another, you can put Saka out there.
Yeah.
Trippier. And I like him though.
Now, I'm no words getting carried away, like to quote the late, great Colin Heavy D, we are going to win the league. It's going to happen, lads. I know it's only 3 games out of 38, but it seems like we've trusted the process and the transition is coming into fruition. I'm quite excited.
Listen, before you two absolutely start losing your shit, let go on record of quoting what I've quoted last year and the year before. Arsenal will not win a major trophy in my lifetime. I don't want to say no more. I'll leave it to you, deluded to talk utter nonsense about Arsenal.
All I'm saying is, yeah, don't get it twisted. I hear what Curtis is saying, and I hope he's desperately wrong. Yeah. But all I'm saying is I'm taking it game for game. Yeah. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm taking it game for game. So we're played now, 3 games? Yeah. We've got maximum points. That is fine with me. Next game we ain't got one of the top clubs until like September. Early September, a couple of weeks into first week of September, I think. We've got Man United or something. Yeah. So until then, we've got Fulham the next game. We've got to be taking 3 points from there. Yeah. That's 12 points. Yeah. Mate, I'm telling you now, I know it is shit for me to be saying whatever, but these games, first games of the season and that, we're usually scrambling. Point here, point there, win or whatever, and this, that, and the other. So even for Arsenal fans right now to be sitting on 9 points, top of the league, yeah, playing when we played Saturday, is it Saturday evening? Saturday evening, go top of the league again. If man get the 3 points, fam, don't piss me off, innit? You're trying to piss me off. Don't piss me off, innit? Yeah, we're here, cuz. We're here. Right now, we've got Jesus up front, and I'm telling you right now, I don't care what defender you are in that league, he is causing you a problem.
Yeah.
Bro, did you see the way he took down that ball for Odegaard's first goal or whoever's first goal?
Yeah, that was ridiculous, to be fair. He looks a player, Jesus, doesn't he? I feel like
Bro, I can't get my shit together and just think, Rob, Pep actually sold Jesus to us. It just seems mad.
Yeah. But to be fair, though, I've never seen Jesus play like he's playing for Arsenal. Maybe he just needs a run of games. You'll know more than anyone. You know, if you're centre forward, you can't be. Managers can't be playing with your head. I'm playing 1 week, I'm not playing the next. Centre forwards need that. If I miss 2 today, I'm still playing next week. They don't need that pressure. And I think Jesus probably had that City, knowing he was never, ever going to get a run. Now he knows he is. I'm like, boy, he looks a player.
And look at this, Curtis. Last season, they was playing without a front player.
Mm.
Like, how much is about that a disrespect? Like, do you know what I mean? But in fairness to Pep as well, when he played him down the middle, he was scoring like 3-4 goals in a game. I remember what did he score? A hat-trick or something towards the end of the last season and stuff like. Do you know what I mean, bruv? I'm telling you, you're right. You give man a run. Yeah? One thing I will say about him though, yeah? Right? He needs to take these, if he gets one chance a game. Because he had a couple of chances. All right. One was offside. Yeah. But there was one that was onside. Yeah. Against Bournemouth. He should have tucked it. That's the only tweak listen, other than that, yeah, I ain't got a bad word to say about him. He holds up the play. He's everywhere.
Is he a finisher? Do you think he's a finisher?
Yes. Yeah.
Curtis, don't do this to me, bro. Because I'm thinking the same thing. Is he that Ian Wright killer? Is he the Henry killer? Is he the Anelka killer? And Wright gets that chance at the weekend. Wright tucks that. Anelka tucks that. Henry tucks that. these man tuck them. That's a finish. That goal is in.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes I just think he rushes it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Another thing I've got to take, sorry, I've taken up so much time, but this is not just for Arsenal, it's for forwards. Why are you, man, trying to side foot the ball? Coming from an angle, you're trying to side foot the ball near post or through the keeper's legs. I don't understand. Maybe I was raised different, but bruv, if I'm coming in from an angle and I've got a shot on my preferred foot, I'm lacing it and I'm going far corner. Whether it rises and goes far side netting, goes far top corner, but I'm aiming for the bottom corner. You've got to go across goalkeepers, bro. All of this trying to trick keepers coming in from the side because you think they're going to go down and all that. It's just rubbishness, bro. Gets on my nerves. I tweeted it as well. Actually, it pisses me off, honestly. And Jesus looks like that kind of guy. He wants to stab it into the net. He wants to outside the foot it coming from an angle and all that. Bro, forget all of that. Lace the ball in it. This is where I'm talking about. I know I always talk about right and these, but this is where the finishing comes. Shearer. These men ain't side footing the ball. They're looking to take the net off the goal.
I was always told as well, if you go across the goalkeeper, the keeper saves it, it might come out for your strike partner. But now there's no strike partner anymore, is there? But
hey.
It's interesting. I want to pick up a little bit on Crystal Palace's win over Aston Villa. Big game. Crystal Palace don't often get the praise that they deserve. I feel Patrick Vieira's doing something brilliant there, going quietly under the radar as well. How would you assess Palace's win over Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa?
I didn't see the game, but I kind of expected it. I like Palace. I think Palace can beat anybody. They've got a lot of pace in the team. They've got a lot of quality in key areas. I love the centre-half who got Núñez sent off. I like him. He looks like he's a good few levels above Crystal Palace, with all due respect. And then I look at Aston Villa that look absolutely all over the place. They don't seem to have any sort of cohesion in the team. Got a lot of good individual players, but the team shape seems to be all over the place. So I think anybody who's half decent will be looking to turn Villa over. I fear for Stevie G. I really do. Because I look at that team, I'm like, it's not a very good team. And he's not very experienced. Yeah, I fear for him. And everyone knows that he's one of the best players I've ever seen, and he is the best I've played against. But I fear for him. I think by Christmas time, he might be coming to work for It Starts Monday.
Okay. Listen, bruv. I said this. Stevie G, all these legendary players, Frank Lampard, all these man, it ain't the same when it's on a touchline, bruv. It's the same with Everton. They just look all over the gaff. Aston Villa, they bring in Coutinho, and you think that's gonna bruv. You gotta have a style of play. This ain't like Rangers where there's two teams up there. This ain't that. Do you know what I mean? You go Palace and get spun. Do you know what I mean? Palace will spin you. Like Curtis is saying, Palace will spin most people. I'm telling you, they got the little dread boy in there. What's his name? Name?
Zaha.
What?
No. With Zaha.
No, Eze.
Eze.
Yeah. Eze's the main man in there. Forget Zaha. He's not the main man. Eze's the main man in there, mate. And he's running the show in there. Like Curtis is saying, the right back that they've got, he looks like he can he can handle himself up against most.
The centre-back, Joachim Anderson, the one that had the run-in with Núñez.
Yeah, I love him.
He seems like a character. He's had death threats, coincidentally, since that. Did he do anything wrong?
I won't pay some little kids talking shit. I won't pay no attention. But I phone my dad on the weekend. I always usually have a chat with him. like with the football and stuff and what games he watching and whatever and this, that, and the other. And I phoned him and I said, yeah, what game you watching? He said, Palace. I said, what? He said, bruv, I've been watching Palace for the last few weeks and they are a side. He said, bro, watch this season. I said, okay. But yeah, and he knows his football inside out. He's like a fucking index for fucking football, that cunt. So I'm telling you now, off the back of him. Huh?
Patrick going back to Arsenal, you think?
Woo! Can you imagine?
I'd like to see that.
And let me tell you something. Big P wouldn't have been wanting Gerrard to get one over him, just through playing things alone. Yeah, forget the manager, just playing things alone. They didn't like each other. Yeah, he would wanted to turn over Gerrard that day there, and he did.
Yeah, I do fear for Villa. I really do. I don't think the recruitment's been that great. They signed Coutinho, who's obviously a good player. They signed the two strikers that they got. But I think there's a bit of a problem there with Ings and the other guy that they got from Bournemouth, was it? You don't really know how they play 3-5-2 when they play them together. It's never really worked. Then they put your man out on the left, and that don't really work. I think if Gerrard, if you had a chat with Gerrard, a private chat with him, and the chat wasn't going to go anywhere, I think he'd probably admit that he's got no idea what his best team is or best formation. And I think that's a real manager, because when things are going wrong, you end up doing A, B, C, D, and E. You don't really know what you're doing. And I think that's a big problem for him. He doesn't know his best team or his best system. He's changed his system and personnel so many times since he's been in the job. If you actually look at his statistics in the cold light of day, it don't make good reading.
Hey, you are a fucking demon. Man said if you look at it in the cold light of day, it don't make good reading. You're looking to get
lads, if you are an icon, does that guarantee you more time? Like, say, like, for your average, like Jesse Marks, for instance, if it goes wrong for him, is he out quicker than the likes of Gerrard or Patrick Vieira?
We can see Gerrard. I mean, you saw Lampard at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I ain't got really an answer for that one. I just think if your chairman and the board and stuff are cutthroat, don't really matter who you are, really. Do you know what I mean? You're going to go.
Yeah, I don't think it gives you any more time if you're a legend. What it does give you, it just gives you a seat at the table a lot quicker than someone like Jesse March would get, or someone who wasn't a legend at Chelsea. I mean, Frank Lampard, if he interviewed for the Chelsea job and hadn't played for Chelsea, would have zero getting it. So, it gets you a seat at the table, but it don't let you eat for any much longer than anyone else.
Interesting. Gentlemen, I've got to say, it's been great to discuss the weekend's games with you. We will be back this week for a special episode of Not For The News. No holds barred on all subjects that are taboo, which I'm quite looking forward to. And I can't thank you both for your time today. It's been impeccable to enjoy your company. Thank you very much. And I'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Quite fun. While watching this on the app, download the YouTube channel. If you're on the YouTube channel, download the Pitch Footy app. Shows, competitions, giveaways. We've got a Messi boot, a Pele boot, some other signed memorabilia that we're just literally giving away. Okay. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much.
In a bit, lads.